Quinnipiac field hockey played its first ever Big East Conference game. The defending champion rugby team is keeping its hot streak rolling, and the ECAC polls were released yesterday for men's hockey. Dylan and Maury will give you their takes on all that and much more. This is Bobcat Breakdown.
Which direction we want to go. And before, a lot of times it has to do with the sun. You look into the sun, you figure out where the sun's going to be, what time it is. You know, if it's 12 or 1 in the afternoon, you don't have much of a play. But when we hit this time, so we had already made that decision last time when we played Lafayette. It was nighttime, so we switched it around. So we did cognitively make that decision to try to be this way.
Guys, you heard her. Becca Main, a genius. She deferred which end of the field that she wanted to defend so that she didn't have to deal with the sun. Everyone knows the old saying, you know, a team can only go as far as a coach can bring them. With that in mind, how much credit can Bobcat fans really give to Becca Main?
I think a decent amount of credit. I mean, you're a coach. She's very smart. She's been with the program for many, many years. She's had many, many victories. She brought him from the MAC to the Big East. She's done a lot of things for this program, won a MAC championship, been to the NCAA tournament. She deserves credit, but I think I was at the game, and I saw a lot of really good things from this Quinnipiac team, aside from coaching, aside from formations, plays, things like that. Michelle Federico was phenomenal, 2 goals, ran the field very, very well. Angie King was great on defense. Dana Barlow played well in midfield. Lauren Belsky looked very, very good on the defensive side. She's looked way better than last year. I think, yes, she deserves credit, but the players played extremely well.
MJ, answer this question for me. Was Becca Main a player on the field?
No, she was not.
No, so her players got it done. Becca Main, yes, deserves credit for a game plan, but no, this team showed up. This team was 0-6. It didn't have a win. This team was lost. This team was in the dust. This team showed up and not only got its first win on its Big East home opener, on its home field, this team showed up, put in 4 goals, a season high, 4-2 victory over Georgetown. Yes, Georgetown was 3-31 since the start of the 2010 season in the Big East. And, you know, the Hoyas have been the laughing stock, but Quinnipiac had a lot on its back, and its players got it done, and it started with Savannah Riley, her 50th point of her career, 5 goals, and the team has 12 overall. She's got almost half of them for the graduate student.
I didn't see Savannah Riley doing too much. She sits right in front of goal. She has plenty of chances to get goals. Yes, she scores most of the goals for Quinnipiac, but she has way more chances than, you know, any other player on the team.
When you score half of your team's goals, let me know
She has way more opportunities. She should be scoring, in my eyes, way more. I'm looking at Michelle Federico, Angie King, Dana Barlow, Lauren Belsky, and Inez Ruiz Martinez, the freshman, starting instead of her older sister. She looks very, very good as a freshman. It's those guys. Savannah Riley, great player, playing okay, scoring goals, but she should be scoring way more in my eyes. And that could lead to, instead of 1-7, maybe 4-3. Because Quinnipiac, if you look at it, guys, 95% of the field, they are really playing better than their opposition. It's that 5% right in front of goal when they really are getting outplayed by the opposition's defense.
So put the ball in the back of the net.
Right, and Savannah Riley is doing that, but I think she should be doing it at a little bit of a higher ratio.
No. Savannah Riley's got almost half her team's goals.
So what?
If you score 40 points in a basketball game, we all know you play Quinnipiac intramurals. We all know you love to shoot the rock.
This isn't basketball.
When you score half of your team's goals, points.
Okay, wait. You want to talk basketball? If you have 8 threes in a game, but you take 26, that's not. You had 8 threes, but you took 26 shots.
But there's no stat. You have to put shots on goal, and Savannah Riley's doing that, and she's this team's leading scorer, and she's doing that. She needs help.
I'm not saying she's playing terrible.
MJ, she needs help.
I'm not saying she's playing terrible. I'm saying that there are times in the games this season, the first 8 games, where there could have been more goals for her or more goals for other players. I'm not saying she's playing terribly. I'm saying I don't give her the credit for winning that Georgetown game. I give it to Michelle Federico, Angie King. I give it to Dana Barlow. Inez Ruiz Martinez, a freshman, played great that game. That's what I'm giving it to. I'm not giving it to Savannah Riley.
All right, guys, let's take a look.
Who didn't score that game, by the way.
Guys, let's take a look at another clip from Becca Main after that game.
For us, this is establishing not only here we are, we came to play, and we're looking to not just enter and be here. We want to do more than just be here.
So given that clip, guys, do you agree that this Bobcat team made a statement with this win? Is this win a statement win in the Big East?
No, this team did not make a statement win. Georgetown, like I said, was the laughing stock. 3 wins in 6 years. Talk to me on Friday, MJ, when this team comes back from Virginia. They play a Liberty team who went 12-6 last year. 6 of its losses, all 6 losses, were to teams ranked 3rd through 11th in the country. They play a brutal schedule, and not to mention 5 of those 6 losses by 1 goal. This team has put up 18 wins in a season, 16 wins in a season, 12 last season. This team is hot. This team finished 20th in the country last year, and Quinnipiac's got a big test come Friday night.
It's a tiny bit of a statement, and this is why, guys. They were 0-6 going into that game. They had to get that win to get the monkey off the back, as you said. They're 0-6. They've been playing better than a team that's 0-6. If you watch the games, they really could have been 3-3, even 4-2 if they had taken advantage of those chances that they had that I was talking about in front of goal in that 5% of the field. So even though they were 0-6 playing better, still 0-6, they had to get that win. It's a tiny bit of a statement to say, we're here, we're finally showing up, we're getting a W. Tiny bit of a statement. Not huge because, as Moria said, Georgetown laughingstock. They were 1-4 in the Big East last year, 0-5 the year before. They're at the bottom. Quinnipiac really needed to get that win if they're trying to make the playoffs in the Big East tournament.
If Quinnipiac women's basketball was a dominant mid-major team, another team on campus who's played the likes of Alabama's, the likes of top teams in Power 5 conferences, they destroyed Alabama 2 years ago with that Jasmine Martin team. Would that mean that they made a statement if they, let's say, Quinnipiac women's basketball was in the SEC? No. It's a statement win if you beat a good team, a team that consistently gets to the NCAA tournament. This team,
it's their first win. It's their first win.
This team, Dylan, with its core, who it still has Angie King, it still has Savannah Riley, it still has a number of other players, Lily Shimo. They beat Villanova in 2014. This team also can compete with Temple. Villanova, Temple, and Georgetown should be wins. The game against Providence will determine if this team gets in the playoffs.
Right.
There's no reason why this team can't be over 500.
It's their inaugural Big East game. You don't think that's a little bit of a statement that we won our first Big East game?
Yes, a little bit of a statement.
Right, a little bit of a statement.
But they're a great team, and I hold them to high standards. They're a great team.
Wait, so you said
and
no
Becca
statement?
Main's a great coach.
You said it's zero statement. You said it's a
high standards.
You said it was a zero statement at first, and now you're saying it's a tiny bit of a statement, which was what I said. It's a little bit of a statement because it's their first Big East game. They're 0-6. They had to get that first win.
I said give them credit early on. In the first question, I said.
But you said talk to me Friday. You said talk to me Friday.
Because a statement is a lot more.
That's a statement. We're in the Big East. We belong here. We got our first win. Bring it on to Liberty.
Statement is a lot more.
We'll see you in Virginia on ESPN 3.
Yeah. We'll see October 8th against Providence, a team that they've been 1 goal either way for the last couple years with, and that could be a playoff game in early October before this team even plays Senior Day, UConn, all that.
You say talk to me on Friday when they play Liberty, but I don't really think the Liberty's game is going to be even close. Liberty just lost to Syracuse 3 weeks ago by 1 goal. Syracuse, the defending national championships, they lost to Syracuse in overtime.
I don't know that?
Oh, I think big Syracuse. I think you know that, but I don't think that's the game where you talk to me Friday. I think you say talk to me when they play Temple, Villanova, Providence. That's when we have
I'm expecting wins. They are a great team. They have a great coach. They have a great core who has won, who's been to championships, who's been to NCAA tournaments. No reason why this team shouldn't be in the Big East playoffs.
All right, guys, so I guess the issue here, defining what is a statement. I'll let you guys battle that out off the air. But bring it back. What does joining the Big East Conference, a new conference for this team, mean for this university in general?
Well, for the team, first of all, it's huge. I mean, you're going to the Big East, way better conference than the MAC. You're playing consistently top teams in the country. Talk about UConn, top 5 team. Liberty was an independent last year. They're finally in the Big East, and Old Dominion's always in the top 15, top 20 of the country. So you're now talking about playing at least 3 really, really good teams in conference play every single year, which you're not getting in the MAC. Second of all, just recruiting. You're now a Big East program. Before you're a MAC program, now you're a Big East team. You say, we go to Michigan State every year for non-conference play. We go to this team. We go to this team. Now we can play UConn, Old Dominion, Liberty. You know what I mean? Villanova, Temple. I mean, those are just maybe not the best teams in the country. Villanova, Temple, Georgetown, whatever. But they're still big-time programs in terms of all of athletics and all of academics as well. It's huge for recruiting. It's huge for the team. All that kind of stuff, and the games you're playing.
Totally agree with you. I think athletically, it's tremendous for this university. I think it's a wedge in order to get the rest of the teams from campus into the Big East. Do I think that's going to happen? No, but maybe it's a wedge to get the rest of the university into the A10. I do think, though, with the new branding, aside from the athletic standpoint, with Quinnipiac, really focusing on that Q. I think other teams in the Big East, like Villanova, they have the V, and that's in their fight song. Temple has the T, Georgetown has the G. So when you own that letter, that's really a brand from your school, and we're already seeing that in the Big East.
Well, guys, pretty exhausting field hockey conversation there. Great job. Thank you. Well done. But we're going to take a quick break. When we return, though, the start of women's soccer conference play has come, and we're going to dive into the early college hockey polls. We're off and running. This is Bobcat Breakdown.
Welcome to A Sheer Sensation, North Haven's premier cosmetology service, located at 140 Washington Avenue, minutes from Hamden. We offer an array of services, from basic cuts and colors to lash extensions and formaldehyde-free keratin treatments. We also provide hair chalk and styling for men. When you spend $60, your Q card will get you 10% off. Call us at 203-239-6477 to make your next appointment at A Sheer Sensation.
I could really go for a Ray and Mike sub right now.
Come to Ray and Mike's and try our Philly chicken and cheese for just over $4. Giant cheesesteak subs and mouth-watering boar's head sandwiches for as low as $4.75. Q Cash accepted just a mile down the road on Whitney, here at Ray and Mike's.
Freshmen this year have stepped in and really just eliminated that problem, doing the right plays at the right time.
I mean, it certainly seems like an uphill battle for this team, but Trisha Fabi is one of the best coaches at this university.
The Bobcats hosting Arizona State. We'll start with this power play.
But she's strong. Good Lord, I saw her lifting one time. She could squat 3 of me. Like,
Oh, well, 7 of me then.
Welcome back, everyone. MAC play began for the women's soccer team this past weekend. The Bobcats hopped on a bus for a road trip down to New Jersey to take on the Bronx of Rider University. After trailing by 1 goal coming out for the second half, the Bobcats were able to pick up a goal to tie the game, but relinquished another goal late in the game, losing by a final score of 2-1. So, guys, let me hear it. How much does losing this first conference game mean for this Quinnipiac soccer team?
I'm not concerned whatsoever. I think Rider was third in the regular season standings last year in the MAC. They won the tournament 2 years ago. They're a very solid squad. They're bringing good recruits in New Jersey. They're a very solid squad. The women's soccer team, their big thing has been not being able to score. That was the big thing 2 years ago. That they couldn't score, right? They had 3 goals in their first 8 games. That was the problem.
They had 3 wins all season.
Right. Their whole issue was they couldn't score. They could defend, they'd lose 1-0. They couldn't score. 3 goals in their first 8 games 2 years ago. They upped that to 15 goals in their first 8 games last year, and now they're at 17 goals in their first 8 games this year. Improvement on the offensive side with Nadia Gill, Jess Fontaine, Sarah Pandolfi, players like that. The other thing I'm noticing is their last 6 games, 5 of them are on the road. They've had to travel a lot. Their last home game was against Delaware State when they won 6-2. So I'm not concerned about a road loss to start MAC play. They'll be fine. I think they're going to get some wins. They were 3 points out of a playoff spot last year. I think they've upped their game a little bit, and they're going to be in that playoff spot, in that 5th, 6th playoff spot. This year, their big problem was scoring, and they've kind of taken care of that.
Yeah, I mean, they lost to Siena for the last game of the regular season last year. It was a win and get in type of situation for the playoffs. But no, MJ, I'm with Dylan. I'm not worried about this team whatsoever. This team had a ton of freshmen last year, an incoming class of upwards of 15 freshman players that Dave Clark brought in from all over the world. So no, I'm not concerned at all. This team has the top offense in the country, top 50, in the country. That's something to say for women's mid-major soccer. 4 of the top 6 players in the MAC in points are on this team. Now, I do, though, see a trend, and hear me out on this. In their 3 losses so far, at Seton Hall, at Albany, at Rider, like you said, a lot of away games, testing a young team. They went up 1-0 or tied the game 1-1 in all 3 of those games. They then let up the tying goal or the game-winning goal 4 minutes after against Seton Hall, 15 minutes after against Albany, and 11 minutes after against Rider, which was the game-winning goal. Yep. So this team has to make sure when they have an early lead, not to get overconfident, make sure that the communication stays intact for the back line, and not let another team come right back into the game, because you give up goals right after you score, the momentum changes drastically.
So, guys, given your thoughts on that Rider loss, what is your opinion on the upcoming game against Niagara? Again, that game is also on the road.
Yeah, it was a winnable game. Definitely not a must-win for Quinnipiac. Niagara was 5th last year, 3 points out of 3rd. Quinnipiac's at home. It's going to be a tough battle, gritty game. Usually is with these guys. And Quinnipiac's good at home. They're 3-0 at home this year. I think they pull out the W. It's definitely not a must-win. These two teams will be battling for playoff position later in the season.
So no, I don't think it is a must-win to get into the playoffs. But for this team, I do think it is a must-win in order to get a top 3 spot, which is at least a home game, a top 4 spot in the conference, to get a home game at least in the first round of the Metro Atlantic Athletic Conference. Last year, the team started out 1-2. When you're in that much of a hole, you can't afford slip-ups. You know, they slipped up against Marist. They lost 3-2 in a tough game in double overtime in Poughkeepsie. Then you can't bank on a win against Monmouth, who traditionally has 8-9 wins out of a 10-game schedule in the MAC. And 2 of its final 3 games this year are on the road. Last year, Quinnipiac was 1-4 at home. So those 5 teams that they played at home are now on the road this year. And if they went 1-4 against those teams, it doesn't look good with 2 out of the last 3 in the regular season on the road. So I don't think it's a must-win to get into the playoffs, but I do think it's a must-win if this team wants a home game come playoff time.
But if I'm the team, I'm not even thinking about getting a home game for the MAC playoffs. This team hasn't been to the playoffs since they made the MAC in the last 3 years. I think their first goal is to get to the playoffs, let alone just a home game. You know what I'm saying? They need to get in 5th, 6th spot, whatever it takes to get in. I wouldn't be greedy about 3rd, 4th place getting that home game. Get in the playoffs, show what you got, try to make a run against some teams that you faced in the regular season already.
Okay, so translating right from that, give me a number. Where do you see this team finishing to end the season?
Like we said, they're 3 points away from the playoffs last year. I think they're the 5th seed this year. I think they make that jump. I think they've made a consistent jump in the past couple of years. I think they get that 5th seed. I think they try to make a run into the semis and the finals.
MJ, it all depends on if you feed the ball to Nadia Gill. The sophomore has 12 goals in her career, 7 of which have been game-winning goals. This player is fantastic. Jess Fontaine is another top player on that top line. She's a senior. She's 9th all-time in Quinnipiac's history with assists, in assists. And I just see a lot of aggression, a lot of attacking, a lot of physicality. This team is top 5 in the country in yellow cards total. So with the aggression there, with the attacking, with the physicality, if you scale that back, and you put a couple goals in net, there's no reason why this team can't be, I'll say, the 4 seed.
Let's not forget Sarah Pandolfi, second on the team in goals with 3. This team has finally added youth to their experience with their youth. It's, in past years, it's been youth. They've been a young team. They bring in, 11 new freshmen. One of the years, they've just been a young team. Now they finally can gel with that youth and experience. And for being on teams, I know that is key. When you have the older guys and the younger guys who are talented as well, it just mixes and it's a great core.
They're women, but in all 4 wins, the Quinnipiac women's soccer team has scored first. So if they score first, look for a lot of W's, in that column.
All right, so guys, we got Dylan, women's soccer coming in at 5, Maury, women's soccer coming in at 4. And now, I know it's early, but let's translate over to the ice. As I said, it's only September, and the college hockey season is over a month away. However, the polls were released just yesterday. Rand Pechtold's Quinnipiac Bobcats were ranked atop the media poll and the coaches poll for the ECAC. Here's Pechtold at Media Day on Monday in Albany.
I think this is actually the first time we've ever been picked first. I think we've always been picked further down and then done really well. But I think the one thing that we have going right now, our culture is really good. We got great character in our locker room, and each year, even though we lose good players, we lost great ones this year. We lost Matt Pekka and Federico and Augusta the year before. Like, we always have returners ready to go to take those big jumps. Like Timmy Clifton took a jump, Connor took a jump, Shot, KJ, those guys all took jumps last year for us. And we need to find that again in the sophomore, junior, senior class. Those guys returners. There's big shoes to fill, but we need some guys to step up.
Dylan, Maury, I have my own personal opinions, but I want to hear from you. What do you think about where this men's hockey team was ranked?
Well, I know we have to do all the analyzation before the show and come up with all the stats and all the cool information to feed you guys. But, you're a men's ice hockey beat reporter. I want to hear what you have to say first.
To be honest, Maury, I'm not really surprised with the #1 overall ranking. Here's why. Quickly, yes, they lost Michael Gartig, Sam Annis, Devon Taves, Travis St. Dennis, the list goes on and on, but I strongly feel the way this defensive core is developing from last year. You got Chase Prisky, now a draft pick, Luke Shiplow. I think the Quinnipiac team's going to have no problem filling this defensive blue line, and everything starts with defense. They can take it and run from there.
I agree. I look at 2 things. This team has a formula for success. They attack. You always hear Rand saying that we're on the go, go, go. They play team ball. I look at Quinnipiac men's ice hockey as the Villanova of college basketball. Villanova has a formula. They recruit to it just like Quinnipiac. They're great guys in the classroom, and they develop them. They're 4-year players, so they're here the whole time. They're not here for themselves. They're not one-and-dones. They're not two-and-dones. They're not chasing money. They're chasing trophies, and they've done it year in and year out. They've been to 2 national championships to show for it in 4 years.
Quinnipiac lost a lot. Yeah, that's true. But Harvard and Yale also lost good guys. You know, Yale lost Alex Line and Rob O'Gara. Harvard loses Jimmy Vesey, obviously the Hobie Baker winner from last year. So we got a lot of teams that are losing some key pieces. Plus, don't forget, you know, Quinnipiac brings in a couple of really good guys. Talk about Chris Jewell sat out last year. He's a redshirt transfer, from Air Force, and he's going to be in goal replacing Michael Garteg. You know, he's tall, he's 6'5" on skates, he's big, he's wide. You know, he can be really good. Landon Smith, don't forget him. Luke Schipple, you said him. Derek Smith. You know, they got a lot of guys. You know, it's just next man up. You look at the team that's so deep, next man up. You got the Cliftons, of course, they're on the All-ECAC preseason team. Those guys are there. So they got a lot of returners as well, even though they lost, 6, 7 guys. And you talk about teams that have lost other guys as well, Harvard, Yale, as I mentioned. And look at St. Lawrence. St. Lawrence brings back a lot of guys. They were second in the poll. And people are kind of surprised at that, but if you look, they really bring back a lot. Kyle Hayton in goal for his junior year. He's looking to have a really good year. And they're bringing a freshman, Taggart Corvo, who's a freshman stud. He's, going to be in the NHL in a couple of years. Look out for him. They got some really good guys. So Quinnipiac, St. Lawrence, I think that's correct. I think the poll really is pretty fair. I trust the coaches. I trust the media.
They deserve it 100%. 16-1-5. The numbers don't lie. I look at the last 4 years and look at the captains. The Jones twins coming off the national championship. Dan Federico, tremendous defender, along with Matthew Pekka. Michael Gartig, Soren Janssen, Travis St. Dennis last year to bring him to a national championship. And like you said, Connor and Tim Clifton, one on offense, one on defense. They're bruisers. They've worked hard. It's their time to shine.
All right, guys, I'm going to agree with Dylan here. Don't look past St. Lawrence, Maury, so don't forget that one. But it's time for another commercial break. When we come back, we'll discuss our defending national champion rugby team. Our very own rugby analyst, Tom Cunningham, is on the way. Don't go away. Trust me, you're not going to want to miss him.
Welcome to A Sheer Sensation, North Haven's premier cosmetology service, located at 140 Washington Avenue, minutes from Hamden. We offer an array of services, from basic cuts and colors to lash extensions and formaldehyde-free keratin treatments. We also provide hair chalk and styling for men. When you spend $60, your Q card will get you 10% off. Call us at 203-239-6477 to make your next appointment at A Sheer Sensation.
I could really go for a Ray and Mike sub right now.
Come to Ray and Mike's and try our Philly chicken and cheese for just over $4. Giant cheesesteak subs and mouth-watering boar's head sandwiches for as low as $4.75. Q Cash accepted just a mile down the road on Whitney, here at Ray and Mike's.
Freshmen this year have stepped in and really just eliminated that problem, doing the right plays at the right time.
I mean, it certainly seems like an uphill battle for this team, but Trisha Fabi is one of the best coaches at this university.
Bobcats hosting Arizona State. We'll start with this power play.
But she's strong. Good Lord, I saw her lifting one time. She could squat 3 of me.
Well, 7 of me then.
Welcome back to Bobcat Breakdown. So you win a national championship for the first time in program history. As a matter of fact, for the first time in school history. The next season, your team is playing arguably even better. Brian Schwartz and Tom Cunningham are live in the Piazza. Guys.
Thanks, MJ. So, Tom, the Bobcats have won 9 in a row dating back to last year's championship season. What's been the biggest reason for their success?
When I look at this team, I just see a complete team from top to bottom. They've got scoring from all different angles. We've got Alona Marr, Emily Roscoff, Maggie Miles, Flora Poole. They can really do it all. Since Alona Marr transferred to this school, she's got over 30 tries. She's really been a difference maker for this program. Natalie Costco left school early to go to pursue an Olympic dream. Alona Marr comes in, and she's been fantastic for this team. She's really been the catalyst for this offense. The other defense is collapsing around Alona Marr, which opens up lanes for players like Emily Roscoff, Flora Poole, and the freshman Mika Maples. Mika Maples, 2 tries in her last 2 collegiate games after never playing rugby before. I think this team is just really complete top to bottom. Maggie Miles near the top in the country in solo tackles last season. I think it's just from top to bottom, Becky Carlson has this squad believing in her game plan and really they know how to win, and they just keep winning and keep rolling on all cylinders.
Looking at their upcoming schedule, what effect will all the road games and travel have on the team?
Well, this team is used to traveling. They're used to going on road trips. Last season they had 13 games, and they only had 5 home games. So they're used to traveling. They're used to going on these long road trips. They go out west a lot, play teams like Central Washington, Brigham Young, BYU. They play a lot of road games, so I don't think it'll have too much of an impact, especially when this team is playing the way they're playing, where they're just rolling on all cylinders. They really look like they can't be stopped. They're scoring from everywhere on the field. They're just getting phenomenal play. They beat Norwich 67-3. Norwich is one of the best programs in the country, and they just demolished them. So I really don't think the games on the road is going to have that much of an impact on them.
With how well they're playing, is this season national championship or bust?
You hate to say it's national championship or bust for any team, but I think they're playing so well, and after winning the national championship last season, I think they have to at least get there for it to be a successful season, especially the way they're just manhandling some of these teams.
All right, well, Tom, thanks for joining me.
Thanks for having me, Brian.
Back to you guys in the studio.
Thank you, guys. Great insight out there. Now, back here on the desk, so let's transition to the men's soccer team. Eric DeCosta's team opens MAC play at home this upcoming weekend. Quinnipiac welcomes Niagara to Hamden, where the Bobcats have 2 of their 3 wins on the season. Niagara comes into the game with 1 win on the young season. Guys, who do you think is taking home the win in this week's Bobcat Breakdown Game of the Week?
I got to go with Quinnipiac. I think just for a couple of simple reasons. One, Quinnipiac just got a win at St. John's. They got the momentum going to this game at home against Niagara. These 2 teams tied 1-1 last year. Quinnipiac was weak. They had guys hurt. Niagara, their big thing is they struggle to score the soccer ball. Right? That was the big thing last year with them. It's carried over this season in their first few games. They're 1-5-1 this season. I think Quinnipiac, whose defense has been really good in the past 2 or 3 games, really should come out with a lot of momentum. I think they're going to get the win 2-0. Eamon Whalen's been tremendous. He's quick off the ball as a freshman. He's very, very good, and their defense has been good, led by James Doig. Shaq Huggins is consistently in the starting 11. I think 2-0 for Quinnipiac.
When this team was dominant in 2013 and 2014, its defense was the key. And I see that exact resemblance from those 2 teams. The togetherness and the defensive organization by this team has been tremendous. Chris Yakovidis, obviously, 4 shutouts to date now. Obviously, the single season record is 9 in a season by Borja and Goita in 2014. But he has earned them. These aren't shutouts in which his defense has allowed 2 shots on goal. Sydney Rossman for the women's ice hockey team will face 5 shots on goal, but because that defense is tremendous, he's making great saves. St. John's tonight had a ball inside the box, blasted it on net, and the freshman was there. So he's the real deal. And I also look to the middle of the field, MJ and Dylan. Max Rothenbucher had a nagging injury last season, which kept him on the sideline or in limited action for most of the year. James Doig was out for most of the season. So the mix from the forwards to the defense, that connector, that bridge, wasn't there all season. Matt Taylor, Max Rothenbucher, James Doig, Shaq Huggins have done a tremendous job all season. They're 4-4 in a brutal non-conference. Quinnipiac, 3-1.
And don't forget, Matt Taylor, who didn't play last year either. But also, MJ, we're talking about the 11 seed coming to Hamden from last year's MAC regular season standings. Quinnipiac's got to be the favorite at home against the 11 seed from last year, the worst team in the conference. 2-0. I don't even think they give up a goal.
Eamon Whalen, tremendous runs. This freshman is the real deal. He's got a knack for the ball. He's got 4 goals already on the young season.
So, guys, here's a little stat, my 2 cents on this game. Quinnipiac has been historically good versus Niagara. Since joining the MAC in 2013, so that's 4 years of play, Quinnipiac has not lost to Niagara. They did tie. They have not lost in the regular season. So I'm going to have to go and take Quinnipiac on this one as well.
I'd be very surprised if Quinnipiac did not get the job done and get the points for the MAC standings.
Eric DeCosta, defensive-oriented. Graciano Brito, tremendous player here.
Absolutely.
This team has got to get a win. Two wins in the MAC last year. DeCosta's a proven winner. Brito's a proven winner. There's no reason why this team doesn't
And it's the
win.
first MAC game of the season, so they got to get it done.
Well, gentlemen, that's all the time we have for today. I'm sure we could talk Quinnipiac sports forever. So if you really want to check out some more, go to our website at www.q30television.com and at theqbsn.com. Follow our social media accounts at Q30 Sports and at QBSN. For everyone behind the scenes and our producer staff, from Maury Hirschgren and Dylan Fearon, I'm MJ Baird. Thanks for tuning in and have a good night.